Welcome back to another episode on the MLD Balls page. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about my top four shooting guards of all time, aka my shooting guard, Mount Rushmore. All right, so like I said, we're going to be talking about my shooting guard, Mount Rushmore, and we're going to start this off with James Harden. But before I do that, if you could please make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe on the MLB Balls page. I'm 93 subscribers in, but if you want to tune in and listen to more of me, but alongside with some friends, go leave a subscribe to the Up the Score show. Gonna leave a little link right there for y'all. Go to that, check it out after we might go live today after I'm done recording this. After you watch this, maybe you could go and see what we were talking about when we ranked our top point guards in the NBA. But before that, let's get right into this list. We're gonna start it off with James Harden. We got the Beard, El Chapo, Jimbo Slice, Honey Bun, Uno, the System. And I don't know how they could leave out Chef Harden. Is Chef Harden not like the biggest thing in Houston? I that's what I remember Harden for, but whatever. We're just not gonna remember Chef Harden, whatever. 10-time All-Star, 3-time scoring champ, 2-time assist champ, 7-time All-NBA, your MVP in 2017. Man, he is one of the only 7 players in all time to have a scoring champion and assist champion title. And I believe those 7 players are okay. I got it. I know ball, man. Y'all gotta leave a like after I give you this fact. It's Tiny Archibald, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Wilt Chamberlain, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and LeBron James. Yep, that's the 7. Let's go. I got that off the top of my dome. But yeah, let's talk about James Harden and see what was he doing in his career throughout the regular season. He was starting off in OKC as a third option, in my opinion. You could argue that Serge Ibaka was more impactful on that Thunder team that made the finals, but James Harden was a great player off the bench. He won 6 Man of the Year, and the year before that, he was 7th in voting. And a lot of players wouldn't be able to come off the bench as clearly the third best player. Him and Russell Westbrook. Looking back at it, man, that OKC team, if they were able to figure out with KD, Harden, and Westbrook with Ibaka, that would have been so tough. But he came off the bench, and they did end up making the finals. But OKC Thunder are just a cheap team. Good for him though, because he went to Houston and he became the 4th best shooting guard of all time. So I don't think James Harden is complaining too much. He got his money and became the 4th best shooting guard of all time. Let's count how many years he had in his prime. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hold on. Harden got traded a lot throughout the regular seasons. He's about to mess me up with this. All right. I think Philadelphia, I'm going to count that as a prime year, honestly. I thought he did good in Philadelphia. I know a lot of people, like, he wasn't peak James Harden, but he still was in his prime. So when we were counting prime years, not peak. His peak year was obviously this 2018-19 season where he just went berserk and was averaging like 40 for a couple for like 40 games in a row. That was crazy. But his prime years, I'm going to give him Philadelphia. Yeah, 21 and 10, 21 and 11, actually. You can't tell me that's not a player at the top of their game when they're also shooting 38% from 3 on 7 attempts. So this 1 year is one. This is 1 year, okay, but it had 3 labels. I don't know why. So that's 2. And then this is 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So he has 11 years in the regular season where he's absolutely been one of the best players in the league, an all-star, and that is very impressive. And then James Harden, we already know he wasn't just any type of all-star. He was the guy who was runner-up in MVP a couple times. He was second in MVP 1, 2, 3 times, and he came in third once, and he was just always in that race when he was in the Houston Rockets, which shows you how good of a player he is if he's always in the MVP conversation, And I personally had him in my 6 to 7 range as a player around that time, but consistency is such an important thing. Yes, I never looked at him like a top 3 player, but always being looked at as a top 7 player for a 10-year stretch, that that is very, very impressive. And yeah, James Harden in the regular season was probably the best score. Him, Harden, Jordan, George Gervin, Will, those are the best scorers of all time, But I feel like those other guys are ahead of James Harden because of the playoffs. James Harden, yes, still a great scorer in the playoffs, but he ramped it down a little bit compared to what he was doing in the regular season. In the regular season, he goes from like a top 10 scorer of all time, and then in the playoffs, he's a great scorer. How many years in the playoffs did he have? He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Honestly, I'm gonna give him 12. This year on the Clippers, he wasn't bad, man. Hey, he did not have Kawhi Leonard on that team. Paul George was Paul George. He in the playoffs, at least he played really well. So I'm gonna give him this season. So yeah, that's crazy. He has more prime years in the playoffs than the regular season, because I didn't even think he played that good for the Clippers throughout the regular season, but in the playoffs, he wasn't bad to me. He wasn't bad to me, and a player like that can help you win a championship. He just has unfortunate, woes that come with him, like injuries on Brooklyn. That year they could have won, but injuries hammed me. Philadelphia, the funny thing about James Harden, he's not that bad of a playoff performer throughout the year. He's a bad closing game performer. Like, I don't know why in the closing games, like, the basket just gets so small to him. He starts getting nervous for some reason. He starts turning the ball over. He starts thinking about the club. I don't know. In playoff moments where it's a closing game, James Harden does become a different person. But even when he's a different person, he is still a top 4 shooting guard of all time. And yeah, out of all these shooting guards, probably the best playmaker. James Harden is an elite 3-point shooter. Understand the percentages were never like 40% consistently, but we know the degree of difficulty of shots that James Harden would take. And he is one of the best shooting guards. If not the best, he is the 4th best of all time. And on to the next name. And yo, I'm being humble with this ranking, because really, D Wade is the best shooting guard of all time. We got Dwyane Wade. We got hold on. Before we do anything, Dade County. Oh, I'm saying Dade. That nickname is so fire that I actually called it the actual thing. Dade County is Wade County. Why is that not on his nickname thing? It is Wade County, all right? Miami is Wade County. D Wade, the Flash. Wow, what is that, Pookie? What is that, Father Prime? What is that, man? Get out of here, bro. We got Wade County over here, the best shooting guard of all time. I'm just being humble and ranking him at 3, all right? 13-time All-Star, scoring champ, 3-time NBA champ, 8-time All-Defensive, 8-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defensive, your 2006 Finals MVP. D Wade on both sides of the ball was a menace, man. He is the best shot blocking shooting guard of all time. Don't want to hear any arguments. It's just a literal fact. He is the best shot blocking guard of all time. Just a literal fact. So fight me. Fight me. He is the best blocking guard of all time. And the impact that he had on both sides of the court really is what put him over James Harden, especially when he was a playoff riser. Like regular season, if James Harden, go did in the regular season. But when we talk about playoffs and what James Harden wasn't capable of doing, D Wade was. D Wade was that guy. And yeah, let's go ahead and look at what he was doing in the regular season. He started off pretty hot, but we're not going to count that as a prime year. 16 points is nice as a rookie, but he was a rookie. And if you, put in the comments if you know who were the 2 players ahead of him in the Rookie of the Year race. Should be a very easy thing to know, But yeah, we're gonna start with how many years he had at his prime. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh yeah, and he was an all-star in 2018-19, so it got to be 13, right? No, it's not. I'm not a liar. I know where that all-star voting came from, but D Wade is still one of the best regular season performers of all time. When you have 12 seasons of being a 20-point per game scorer and one of the best defensive guards in the league, like look how many times he was in the DPOY race. Like he was never one of the top people besides this year where he averaged 30. Imagine averaging 30 and coming third in defensive player of the year. Dude, that is insane, man. Like the fact he was always in the defensive player of the year race and always an all NBA defensive type player shows you how much impact he brought on both sides of the court. He had an amazing post game. He was one of the better downhill attackers, a good playmaker. D Wade was different, man. And let's look at the playoffs. Imagine in your second year averaging 27 in the playoffs throughout 14 games. That's crazy, man. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years where he performed at an elite level in the playoffs. I understand these 17 and 15 point per game seasons. You're going to look at it like, really? You're going to count those? I watched those games. I watched it every single one of these, and D Wade was still elite. He was going downhill. He was being the leader of this team, honestly. Or he had LeBron on the team, so it's like I don't want to just say he was the lead. He was the leader, man. He wasn't the best player, but he was the leader of this team. He was doing it on both sides of the court, and he was such a great leader that he sacrificed a couple points. So we still knew who D Wade was at that time, and at the end of games when it was clutch moments, he would show up. He would still come up when needed. D Wade, man, I don't want to talk about D Wade too long because I'm gonna start glazing. But D Wade is pretty easily the third best shooting guard of all time, and I'm pretty sure everyone could agree with me. Shooting guard was probably the easiest position to rank these guys because it's a consensus with the shooting guards. It's just we doing a series, so the show must go, and we must rank these guys, even though y'all know who's gonna be number one. We're gonna talk about number two, the Black Mamba. KB24, I mean, I guess Vino, Showboat, Fly. What are these nicknames? Kobe Bean Bryant, like the fact that's his middle name is hilarious. It was such a like nickname to me that it makes sense that's his middle name, I guess. The Black Mamba, Black Jesus. Oh no, Black Jesus is MJ. Black Mamba, bro. Yeah, I know there's better Kobe nicknames, but we just gonna stick with the Black Mamba because that's the best one. All right, at least they got the best one. Unlike D Wade, they ain't even get the flat. They ain't even get Wade County. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. He got a whole city named after him, and we ain't gonna even give him that nickname. But either way, on to Kobe Bryant, we have a guy who in the regular season was an absolute menace. In his career, he was an absolute menace. He has one. If he made All NBA third team, I gotta give it to him, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 season where Kobe was at peak play. He averaged 37% from the field. Nah, that's chopped. Nah. 15. 15 seasons of prime Kobe is an amazing thing. And like, look how he was. All right. You know what? He was doing it on both sides of the court. All right. He actually was. MVPs, he was always in the race. Kobe, man. The fact he only has one MVP, we know why, because man, he is capable of having more than just one. But things happen. And he did it on both sides of the court. These shooting guards, man. These two-way shooting guards, man. I like this list. You got Wade doing it on both ends, Kobe doing it at both ends. The next guy does it at both ends. And Kobe is one of the better three-point shooters of this generation. When you look at this generation of basketball, the early 2000s, you got to remember most of these guys were volume scorers, and these percentages by Kobe in that era is really, really, really good because those power forwards back then were like Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett. Those guys will be centers nowadays. And those type of guys like Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, they had a big man backing up the back end for them, so it wasn't easy buckets for real. These guys was taking contested middies, contested fadeaways. They wasn't taking threes as much. Everything was closer to the basket with more big guys. So it wasn't as easy as it is nowadays with all the space that's created. And Kobe was one of those guys who would shoot a lot of three-pointers back then. A lot. And look at his 2015-16 season when he was 37 years old. You see, even he got the memo that three-pointers is something you should do. And this is literal proof that a guy who was 18 years old in the NBA and came in shooting like two threes a game would shoot more volume if they stayed in this era. It's just a literal fact. I don't know why people act like Kobe was one of those guys though, averaging six threes a game in '06 is insane. Kobe was deep sniper. Deep sniper. Let's talk about the playoffs though, where Kobe, people don't realize like he may have not won those finals MVPs with Shaq, but they were saving Shaq for those finals runs. Kobe would throughout the if we had Eastern Conference Finals MVP back then and Western Conference Finals MVP, Kobe would have some of those to his name. Kobe was the guy throughout those conference finals, the semifinals, the first round. He would have the Lakers on his back sometimes, and Shaq would kind of wait until the finals to just unleash because they didn't want Shaq to get hurt. Kobe was the volume scorer, and Shaq was just the efficient dominance. But let's count how many years Kobe had in the playoffs. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm gonna give him 12. If y'all want to give him 13, go ahead. I won't argue it too much. I'm gonna give him 12 though. But yeah, 12 years in the playoffs, and he always won his rings back to back to back, and then back to back. That's tough. That's tough. And yeah, Kobe, one of the greatest to ever do it. Rest in peace to a legend. And y'all, should we just end the video right here? Like, y'all know who number one is. Like Mike, Air Jordan, MJ, Black Cat. I don't know about that. The GOAT, Captain Marvel, the Black Jesus. The Black Jesus. Yes, yes, yes. That's the one I was waiting for. We got a 10-time scoring champ, 3-time steal champ, 6-time NBA champ, 14-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA player, a 9-time All-Defensive player. Your 1988 Defensive Player of the Year, 6-time Finals MVP. You got a 5-time regular season MVP. Dude, when you go back and just look at what Jordan was doing, you start to understand why he's viewed at so highly like he is, man. Jordan was doing it on both ends. He was averaging 30. Like, dude averaged 30 for his career is sick. 30 points for a career is sick, man. Like, when we go back and count prime years, I'm literally counting this man's rookie year. Like he came in his rookie year and was dominant, man. Like, just take a look at this, man. 28 points per game as a rookie. As a rookie. This is like what Victor Wembanyama's doing, bro. This is insane. This is GOAT pace, man. This is GOAT pace, and that's why he is the GOAT. We got 1, 2. Actually, I'm not gonna count that second. Should we count that second year? Like, we know how good he was, but he broke his leg. The crazy thing about Jordan is how we view him as the GOAT, and he retired twice he retired 3 times and had a broken leg like twice. And he still viewed it as a GOAT, man. Like, imagine, like, there's a what if with Jordan. What if he didn't retire 3 times? What if he stayed healthy? He would even be viewed higher. Like, that's all he could have done. Or it is possible that if Jordan was 6-1 in the finals, some of y'all weirdos would look at that like a negative, because people think that losing in the finals is a negative thing. Like, people just forget that, you made that run, but maybe if he was 6-1 in the finals, people would say, nah, he lost in the finals, man. Bill Russell, they're going to change their criteria all the way from Jordan being 1 to Bill Russell being 1 now. People just be doing stuff. But let's not talk about people. Let's talk about MJ. Let's talk about the Black Jesus, the GOAT, man. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 prime seasons. Like, 11 prime seasons and being considered the GOAT is crazy. It's crazy. And it's like, I agree with it. Just look at this. MVP, he was runner-up how many times? 3 times. Third once. Dude, he came into the league and was 6 in MVP voting, bro. What are you doing, MJ? Where were you made, bro? That's crazy. Look, he wasn't that good of a 3-point shooter, but these 2 years where he was shooting them things kind of show you, bro. If MJ was in this era, he'd be more of a 3-point shooter. You know, he would. But people don't like to admit that. When you go back and watch MJ, he had a smooth jumper, man. He is smooth jumper. Ain't no way you can tell me MJ has a case of being the GOAT and he wouldn't be able to shoot threes like nowadays. Come on, MJ would be able to average even more points with how much spacing there is. The amount of space that he'd have to go downhill, bro. He had two people in his dunker spot with whoever he had at center and Dennis Rodman or Horace Grant at power forward, and he was still going downhill, averaging 30, man. Dude, we don't got to talk about the regular season too much for Jordan because, dude, look at these playoff runs. This is actually sick. He's never averaged 20 in the playoffs unless it was his rookie year. In the 1 year he averaged 20, it was 29. This man MJ is sick. Dude, this is not good for basketball that he was this good. This is actually weird, man. this is crazy, man. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Literally every single season he was in the playoffs. He probably was the best player in those playoffs, you know. But he had a couple years where he exited early, but the 43 points a game. I understand he only played 3 games because back then the series were like 5 games. But holy man, that's insane work by you, MJ. Good. Clap it up for this man, bro. And look at him shooting threes back in the day, bro. Like MJ is so tough, doing it on both ends of the court. 2 steals almost his whole playoff career. He was able to facilitate pretty decently. His turnovers weren't that bad. Actually, mid playmaker. He's not a point guard, but field goal percentage is on point, man. Oh my goodness, MJ, the GOAT for a reason. We wear his shoes for a reason. He is the oh man, MJ. I'm in awe when I go back and watch MJ, and when I look at his stats, I just get more and more impressed. His name is solidified in basketball the way it is for a reason. And y'all, if y'all never went back and watched Jordan, I'm telling you, just go back and watch the playoffs. Him against the Blazers finals was pretty fun. The Lakers is pretty fun, bro. Just anytime you watch MJ, look at these averages, bro. Numbers don't lie, bro. These numbers don't lie. There's nothing else to talk about. MJ's the GOAT. If y'all want to tune in to my other lists that are going to be more shocking than the shooting guard list, because this list was pretty easy. We already know who the GOAT shooting guards is. So I'm also making a current shooting guards video, a Chicago Bulls video. We're going to talk about the Bulls. We're going to talk about the most underrated players in the NBA, the most overrated players in the NBA. Think about doing a Lamar Jackson video. Today, later on, I'm planning on going live on Up the Score show. Y'all, we're going to have so much content this week. So just make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and y'all going to get what y'all want to see. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. God bless, and have a nice day.